Collegeology Games is a set of games that are all designed around the idea of improving college access for high school and middle school students. Each entry in the series is aimed at a particular target audience, whether that's middle school students or high school students who are trying to figure out the application process, or high school students who are trying to figure out which colleges to choose. Every game is sort of got a very tightly focused audience.
So if I were to go into a class and lecture to the kids about how important it was to go to college and kind of list all the different things they needed to do, there's always kind of like a certain moment when students kind of glaze over, and even though they know they should be listening to what I'm saying, they disengage. But when they play a game, they engage entirely differently. For one, they engage for longer periods of time, but two, they really grapple with the subject matter, and they can learn things kind of by experimenting and making mistakes in the game and then adjusting their strategy that it would take a really long time for me to teach them just by talking.
The college application process is a really complicated system with a bunch of rules, and that's sort of why it's perfect for games. I mean, that's what games are inherently, systems with complicated sets of rules. Only with the college application process, you don't get to practice it at all, and that's why we think Collegeology Games is sort of the perfect medium for this content.
And we have gotten a great deal of support from the U.S. Department of Education, the Gates Foundation, and a variety of other foundations like the Gilbert Foundation and TG Foundation. And all of that has enabled us to create games that are more than simply games. They're educational games that inspire, enthrall, and excite kids about particular topics.
The Collegeology Games project is in a unique position to reach all sorts of kids. Students who have questions about college, who are anxious and intimidated by the college application process, who don't have enough information, kids all across the country.
So a lot of times they'll set up next to each other, and some students narrate as they play, so they pretend they're one of the avatars and they make sound effects. They often call their friends over to look at something they're doing within the game, or students will lean over and figure out different strategies together. So there's a lot of really nice back and forth that happens when they're playing.
The college application process is something that's incredibly difficult for everyone who goes through it, but it's especially hard for people who don't have access to a lot of guidance, and that's sort of the niche we want our games to fill, to provide a little extra information about the meta strategy of applying to college and sort of the process of preparing yourself well to be a good college applicant.
And what I see for the future is us developing a whole suite of games on a variety of topics, because not only is there a financial crunch in our school system, so they can't afford college counselors, but increasingly, young people are much more adept and interested in using social media in ways that I never was. So we've got to get to where they are rather than trying to make them come to us. And that's what I think these games are doing.